All right, guys, so welcome back. So here we are tasked with this information for Sandusky Manufacturing Company. This is their information as of January 31st. So at the very top, we have their inventory and then all of this information at the bottom. So they're asking us to prepare a statement of cost of goods manufactured and then to next determine the cost of goods sold, right? So hopefully if you're in the demonstration portion of this or watching this video, there is a worksheet or all of this information for you. So hopefully you have maybe downloaded it, or if you don't feel, maybe you want to follow along, that's all the same to me, but I have made this all available to you so we can all walk through it together, okay? So again, here's our information, and we're tasked with coming up with the statement of cost of goods sold. So as I mentioned before, it will probably be very smart of you guys just to, or wise, I guess you would say, to maybe just have this template readily available so you can figure out what goes what, okay? So we're doing this all on the basis of the month of January. So January 1st represents the beginning of the month and January 31st is the ending, okay? So first, we're going to start off with the, this first part here, the beginning work in process inventory. Now, if I'm looking at the information that they've provided me with, they've given me 3 types of inventory, all ones that we've already talked about in a prior slide or prior video. So you have the raw materials or the materials inventory, work in process, and finished goods. So in our template, it says we should start off with the work in process inventory, right? So our beginning work in process inventory here, work in process inventory beginning, this represents our beginning, and this is our ending. So it should be this number. I didn't do a good job of circling it, but you get what I'm saying, right? All right, so there it is, work in process inventory. And the way this is set up, it's all set up in columns, and it will make sense because when it's time to add it all up in the end, it'll be a lot easier to do so. So just take that into consideration. All right, so there's your 334,600, right? And then we have direct materials. This semicolon means that things will go under it, under that line, all right? So here's our direct materials, right? And so we're going to start off with our beginning materials inventory. Again, here it is. Our beginning materials inventory is $180,000. Then next is all of our purchases. Now we have to look through the information, but here it is. It tells us that our materials purchased during the month was $1,375,000. And so that's what I'm going to put here, purchases of that amount. Now here, you have this line, right? This line means to sum or add up the numbers that come before it, right? So for us, we're going to add up these 2 numbers together, our beginning materials inventory plus our purchases, which will give us the cost of materials available for use. All right. Next, our next thing is our ending. Here we are. Our ending materials inventory. So that should be here, right? Ending materials inventory. So that should be, there it goes. 145,500. So they're telling us we need to subtract that out. The reason we're subtracting it out because we did not use these materials in the manufacturing of the products that we made, right? They were just raw materials that were purchased, but we didn't use them in the manufacturing of the items that we were making. All right, so again, here it is. We have this line again represented here, and that just means to sum up those 2 numbers. And because we have a positive less a negative, we're going to add them together, right? And that's what we should get, 1,409,500, right? So that number is being now put into this next column, the second column, as we've done in our example. Now we're going to go in and now add in our direct labor. So according to this information, our direct labor is here, the 2,260,000, right? So that goes there. Next, we have our factory overhead. Well, our factory overhead, they just did such a wonderful job, and they've listed out all of our factory overhead incurred during the month. And so it's all of this. And so that's what you're going to do. You're going to list out all of your factory overhead. Now, what I should pause and say for a second is if they just give you factory overhead and not the breakdown, that's fine too. It's just that this example has given us the liberty or given us more information, and we're just going to list it as is, okay? So all of our factory overhead, again, we're now going to put into our table, okay? All right, so if we add up all of our factory overhead together, right? And once we do that, we're going to put it now into this template, right? If we're following along what we have, our factory overhead goes into the second column. So we're going to add all of these up and put them, come on, that's the anyways, we're going to put all of the factory overhead into this area, okay? Let me erase this so it just looks a little bit cleaner. All right, so that's what it comes out to. So 321,600. So your total manufacturing costs incurred in the month of January would include everything that was in the middle column, or better put, it's all of your direct materials and all of your direct labor and all of your factory overhead. All of that added together would be considered your total manufacturing costs incurred in the period. Okay, so we're going to add these all three together, and that's how we're going to get that number, and it's going to go in your very last column. That number represents our $3,991,100. Now we're going to come up with our total manufacturing costs, and this one is you're adding these two together. Okay, so your beginning work in process inventory plus your total manufacturing costs incurred will give you your total manufacturing costs. Okay, so that 334,600 plus the 3,991,100 gives you that number. And then last but not least, if you're following along with the template, we're going to subtract out our ending work in process. Right, so our ending work in process, if we go over here, is this number, this 290,700. That's what we got here. And so our cost of goods manufactured is 4,035,000. So let's talk about this, what this really means to us. Our cost of goods manufactured is basically saying we started off with all of this raw materials. We started out, and then we also had, you know, labor and factory overhead. So we're putting all of this stuff into the blender throughout the month, but we're trying to figure out what was the cost associated with manufacturing all of the goods that we manufacture. We want to subtract out any raw materials that we did not use in our manufacturing process, and we want to subtract out any work in process that was not completed, right? Because that means that it didn't contribute to the cost of goods manufactured. It's not done being manufactured yet. That's why we're subtracting out our work in process inventory and our raw materials inventory, because it's not done yet, right? All right. So with that, we're all done here. So if you have any questions, please let me know. And there's plenty of practice in the homework. So I really would encourage you guys to maybe take a second and make sure you go practice your homework now. Don't wait till the exam to start practicing, because it's not gonna line up like you want it to, okay? So just take a second, practice your homework, and it'll be fine.